What's good, my people? Welcome into No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. I am your host, Sean Little. Big Nick the Quick with me on the road, man. We back. We've been grinding. We had to miss a couple days, but, man, we always try to get on the mic every week at least once. We're back now. It's Thursday morning. We got a lot to catch up on. We know about the Morant situation in the NBA. We're going to talk about Ja. We're going to talk about the Jokic, JJ Redick, Kendrick Perkins, the whole MVP narrative surrounding Nikola potentially winning 3 in a row. That's the big sticking point. That's the big problem. If he wasn't winning 3 in a row, none of this conversation is even happening. We're going to talk about that. Then we'll move over to we'll probably talk about a little bit of the rest of the NBA, what's going on the East, on the West side, futures. Then we'll get over to the NFL. We got to talk about this Lamar Jackson situation because Big Nick the Quick thinks something's fishy.
Some in the water.
I have some other ideas that I want to get off and ask Nick about. So we'll talk about the Lamar Jackson, of course, a couple offseason moves. Derek Carr now in New Orleans. We'll talk about Aaron Rodgers potentially coming to the Jets. Stay tuned. Stay locked. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. Let's get to it.
Man, look at Mossy. Really? Oh, so that's how you're going to play it. You going to do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
Big Nick the Quick, what's happening?
How we feeling, man, out here in lovely Birmingham, Alabama.
Birmingham?
Hey, shout out Birmingham. Hey, listen, man.
You rock with Birmingham?
I'm rocking with it. Heavy. It's nice. It's
really?
Decent. It's a different type of lifestyle. I think I like the South, bro. I think I might be done. I might be done with the congestion.
Oh, wow.
I might be done with the
Here
cold.
we go.
everybody,
you going down to Texas?
Out here. No, never go to Texas. I have zero interest in Texas. I've only been to Austin, but I have no interest in seeing the rest of the state. You can have Texas. But Southeast is decent. I hate bro.
Birmingham?
You like Texas?
Birmingham?
It's decent, bro. It's kind of decent down here. They got a black.
Oh my God.
They got a black mayor that I guess is kind of like revitalized the city. So there's a lot of cool little spots. I mean, in reality, of course, bro, I'm not gonna leave where I'm at because I love it too much. But sometimes you get out, you see some other shit. You see that there's a fucking 4-bedroom house for $400,000, and you're like, damn, what am I doing where I'm at?
This is that officially washed talk.
Yeah, dog,
at least tell me Mia got it. It's some good volleyball down there or something, bro.
You out of New York, so man, the cost of living is a whole different conversation with you. But yeah,
you know what? I've just punted on the cost of living, G.
You can't even think about it.
I just live I just buy the sandwich I was gonna buy. I get the drink I was gonna buy.
You can't do it, huh?
I literally just don't even. I used to get pressed.
Yeah, for sure.
Now I'm just like, man, this is what I want that sandwich. Yeah.
It is nice.
Put whatever on there. Yeah, I'll take
the
fresh baguette. Yeah, give me that. I'll take that.
Yeah.
So
bring your lady out here, man, for a little couple of days. You probably like it. I am gonna go check out University of Alabama. I got a free day tomorrow, so I might go by the campus, see what's going on.
Only South City I want to see is I want to go out to South Carolina and check
Charleston.
out.
Charleston's supposed to be really nice. Yeah,
I'd go to Charleston just for a weekend to check it out. So, All right, let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about, and we missed y'all the last few weeks, but we're back now. We got to talk about it. I didn't mention this in the intro. I got to open the show with our guy Fred VanVleet. I don't know if Nick has seen this video yet, but Fred VanVleet went off on Ben Taylor, NBA referee, said he had an issue with his officiating last night. Here's the audio, and I got to ask Nick, this seemed like a hefty fine coming. Listen to Fred VanVleet.
I mean, I don't mind. I'll take a fine. I don't really care. I thought, Ben Taylor was fucking terrible tonight. I thought that on most nights, couple of out of the 3, there's 1 or 2 that just fucked the game up, and it's been like that a couple games in a row. Denver was tough, obviously. You come out tonight, you're competing pretty hard. The third quarter, I get a bullshit tech, changes the whole dynamic of the game, changes the whole flow of the game. And, most of the refs are trying hard. I like a lot of the refs are trying hard. They're pretty fair. They communicate well. And then you got the other ones who just want to be dicks and it just kind of fucks the game up. Nobody's coming to see that shit. They come to see the players. And I think we're losing a little bit of the fabric of what the NBA is and was. And it's been disappointing this season. You could look up most of my texts this year have been with Ben Taylor officiating. So at a certain point as a player, you feel it's personal, and it's never a good place to be. That's not why we lost tonight. We got outplayed, but it definitely makes it tougher to overcome.
Yeah.
How much is that, Nick?
It's about
How much
50.
that go?
It's about 50 piece. It's a 50 burger.
piece.
That's a 50 burger. That's a burger. Shout out to Sweater, though, but that's a burger.
We've seen it. So the max you could get fined, I believe, without going like through the NBA PA is 50 bands.
Yeah, it's 50.
You just got to eat that and keep it moving. We've seen
he
Draymond.
said dick on the podium. He said fuck 3 times, and he called out Rex by name.
We've seen Draymond get 25 bands before for comments. We see 15, a little 15,000 all the time to coaches. That might be a 50 burger.
It's a 50 burger.
He called
100%.
out because he called out my man's by name.
By name.
He said he was fucking terrible.
He called him a dick.
Said, hey, we ain't come here to see this shit, that bullshit tech.
Yep. told him all my texts are from this guy.
All my texts from this guy. He don't like me.
Yeah. Very calm to explain himself, but he was upset.
That's 50 bands.
Yeah, that's 50 bands. But Fred's gonna appeal that, man. He's from Rockford. He ain't losing 50 over something like that.
No, he said I'm gonna take it.
Did he say that?
No, that's another reason why I think they're gonna give him 50 because he opens it with, I'm gonna get fined. I don't care. Like, oh yeah, here 50,000. Here 50,000.
Shout out to 618 legend, man. Fred VanVleet, man.
So
we're big Fred VanVleet guys here. So yeah.
Let me ask you this.
I can't knock him though. I mean, look, some of these. I get it, man. Like I didn't see the game in question, obviously, but for VanVleet, who's a veteran of the league, to kind of go off like that, I take him at his word, man. Because some of this officiating that we talk about all the time.
He's not really that type of guy.
Not at all. I really don't even hear him talk that much.
Yeah,
he's kind of a cool, real. Even how he was talking, like he's just low key. He's like, yeah, guy's a dick, man. So fucking, you know what I'm saying? Just real calm.
Yeah, real calm.
Yeah, so for him to get up there and start speaking like that, knowing that it's going to cost him some bread, and again, it's a man from Rockford, Illinois, he felt a certain type of way.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had to start the show with Fred VanVleet. Hopefully he could get away with. Maybe they'll give him 40. Maybe they'll bang him for 40,000.
Nah. That's an example. They'll make an example. That
feel like 50,000.
Look, Silver is
look. What do you say? What do you say from the look? Listen to it from the open.
I mean, I don't mind. I'll take a fine. I don't really care. I thought, Ben Taylor was fucking terrible tonight.
He said, "I don't care. I'll take the fine." I thought Ben terrible was fucking terrible. That's a 50 burger. That's 50,000. All right, let's get into it.
You got to get off your chest sometimes.
Hey, man. Sometimes you really just gotta
get off your chest.
Remind him, like, hey, because next time he sees Ben Taylor, maybe his
spotlight is on that game,
and maybe they'll have a little conversation, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Maybe Ben could go over there and chop it up with him. They could kill it. But yeah, he had to get that. That was on his chest. That was on
unless Ben's a Joey Crawford type character, and then he's just in for it.
Yeah, he might tech him.
Remember Joey gave Duncan a tech on the bench. In street clothes. Remember that shit?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
All right.
So some of these guys are different.
Let's go ahead and get this Ja Morant talk out of the way. We haven't been able to comment
about Dirk?
on this. Huh?
You talking about Dirk?
Oh, come on. You trying to talk about Dirk, yo?
You talking about Thugger?
Come on, man. Let's we haven't had the opportunity to talk about the Ja Morant situation.
Yeah.
Me and Nick were kind of on this early. I think we mentioned this a few times on the pod.
For sure.
The first time I was taken back by Ja wilding out a little bit was when he tweeted. Now, me and Nick actually argued about this, and we're going to give you some insight to the group combo we've been having the last couple of days. Last year, someone was talking shit to Ja on the internet, on Twitter, where everybody talks shit to everybody.
Literally.
Ja tweeted at somebody, don't trip. It's free. No, I think he said it's free to feel how those hollow tips feel. As in, I'll shoot you for nothing. Like it's free. It ain't no problem to feel a couple of these shots. And I remember I sent it to Nick, and I'm like, bro,
why?
What is he talking about?
What is he talking about?
what is he talking about? So I'm going to get the exact tweet just so I don't butcher it.
Yeah, it was like these hollows are free or something like that, or you feeling these hollows is free. But yeah, 100% implying that you could get that from Ja if you keep talking shit and it's nothing to him. So yeah, that was 100% the first sign that something was a bit amiss with young Ja Morant. So
a guy tweeted at him, "My bad, I didn't know you was pussy whipped." Morant then followed up, "It's free to see how hollows feel," with a smiley face emoji.
yeah,
This was May 14th. 2022, so like pretty much a year ago.
Yeah, less than a year ago. Yep.
And that was after he had went live on All-Star Game weekend on the plane, drinking Casamigos.
No, he had the Casamigos, and he had the what's the other one?
The 1942
the porcelain shit. No, he had the one, the porcelain bottle too. The shit, everybody,
yeah,
what I'm
with the
about.
bell.
Yeah. He had both of them, and he was.
Yeah, so he had been wilding out, and like what we had went back and forth with was, I don't know, Nick. I don't know if you want to talk about how do you feel about how he's been acting out? I don't know if you want to put that out.
Yeah, no, I'll put it out there. I put it out there on the show before. We talked about it a couple months ago. Yeah. And to me, and I was dead ass serious about it. To me, the thing that stuck out, like obviously the hollow tips and all that, and the drinking on the plane, that's one thing. He's had the All-Star weekend. The shit that was that kind of like stuck out to me was this summer, just him going live, just completely slapped. You know what I mean? Not even in like a setting where it's like, yo, I'm here. It was just like, I'm playing mini golf. One of them was he's playing mini golf with his guys. It was like 10 in the morning, and like he had a bottle in his hand. You know what I mean? And just like he'd always going live. It always seemed like he was just out of control, a little bit overserved, and hopping on live. And when you and I talked about it, it's like, hey, regular 23-year-old, if you had a camera on us when we were 23, you'd probably see a lot of shit like that too. But for him, it just looked different. Like the look in his eyes, the look in his face was just like, this is what this dude does every day. You know what I mean? He wakes up, him and his guys, they're getting fucked up. And then just the hopping on live part, I was like, yo, I honestly think this guy has an alcohol problem, right? Like just some of this behavior is very erratic. It's kind of all over the place. And it's not like this is his first year in the league, right? Like Ja's been in the league for 4 years at this point in time. So it's like, he knows better. And just to get that fucked up, that you're going on live when clearly you're the face of your franchise, you're the face of a lot of different brands, your partners, things like that. It was just a bad look to me. So fast forward to this season, and some of these incidents that you started hearing about, whether it was when his mom was getting harassed at the mall and Josh shows up 9 deep, right? Whether it was some of the shit with the laser pointers in his guys, whether it's this latest incident when literally as he's embroiled in all this controversy, he is at the strip club, live streaming, waving around pistols, right? So it's one of those things that, like, I think I said this, I didn't want to be right on it, but sometimes it just looks different, bro. Like, we all like to get fucked up. We've all had our times where we're getting fucked up a lot, but you always know when there's that one person where it's like, yo, dude just gets a little bit too much, you know what I mean? And gets a little bit too loose with it. So it just seemed troubling to me, man, because he was just so reckless and carefree about it, to the point where it's just like, something's not right here. So that's kind of where I was with it, man. I was just like, I feel like this guy is kind of going down a slippery slope, a little bit beyond what we're used to with a lot of these guys. Because all these guys go out and have a good time, but you don't really see too many of them live streaming it and shit like that, because they have the awareness that it's just not what you're supposed to do. Yeah. So I felt the alcohol was just starting to get a little out of control. Which I sound like
this is where me and Nick disagreed a little bit, because you got to remember these guys are also 23-year-olds, just like we were 23-year-olds. He just has a bunch of money. Now, do I agree with him going on live stream and kind of showing everybody what he's doing and being out of control? No, I don't. But as Nick said, if you were to put cameras on us, 22, 23 years old, you would think a lot of people, including us, around the country have drinking problems. Go to a college campus right now, like, these dudes are alcoholics. And according to the doctor's office, a lot of people around the country are alcoholics, right? I've never heard of Ja missing meetings. Maybe that's not reported. I've never seen Ja's performance on the court hasn't taken a hit. So I think I can't speak on him having a drinking problem. It more seems like a young dude having fun to me. Now, the only reason we're talking about this is because guns are involved. If guns weren't involved, we wouldn't be talking about does Ja have a drinking problem, in my opinion. It would more just be this dude's got to slow down. I'll never forget this. One time I was doing a bunch of traveling. I was in and out of, this is my early 20s. I was like maybe mid-20s. I was going to Europe. I was bouncing all around. I was coming back home. I was going out all the time. I was spending a bunch of money. And my dad just gave me a simple, because that was my dad was my guy. I listened to everything he said. I respected everything he said. And we had a relationship where, especially as I got older, it was just like a. And I understood what he was talking about.
Moving too fast.
He looked at me and he was like, hey, man. He's like, I'll never forget him saying this. He goes, you burning the candle at both ends. And I said, all right, I got you.
Yep.
I got you. I hear you. You right. He's like, he said, when's the last time you talked to your mom? When's the last time you called your grandparents? I said, and he didn't even let me answer. He said, you burning the candle at both ends. He said, slow down a little bit. I said, no problem. I hear you loud and clear. I got you. I understood what he was saying. That he might have been moving a little too quickly, but it is worrisome the fact that he was doing this all to himself with the live stream shit and all that and the guns piece. Now,
the gun shit is crazy to me. That's a whole separate issue.
That's a whole separate thing.
Yeah, and I think it's two different issues at play. Again,
they're tied together.
All that, and now they are tied together 100%. It's funny you mentioned your pops because it doesn't help that Ja's pops, right, is seemingly part of the crew, right?
Yes.
That relationship seems to have flipped because, to your point, and it's funny, I was talking about my barber about it the other day. I was like, hey, man, we think about this Josh, and he goes, my son would never. My son would never. And I'm thinking in my head, like, if I was doing that, my pops would fuck me up. Like, come on, man. Even if he was part of it, even if he was rolling with us, and I always thought that was cool, his pops is always slapped, though. Come on, man. Like, his pops is always slapped at the game. So, again, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you put it all together in totality, that's where I was like, okay, he has a problem. Now then you fast forward to going live with guns and shit like that. It's kind of like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing here? So, that's where I was kind of getting at with that.
Yeah, there's me and my dad had a really good relationship where like he was my homie, but he was my dad first. Really seems like they're homies, and there's no real oversight on that type of shit. Yeah. So Ja's gonna be out for quite a bit, seems like. I still think he'll be back. Did you read the Calvin Ridley Player Tribune article?
No. Is it about him coming back or?
Calvin Ridley go check it out. Calvin Ridley dropped the Players Tribune yesterday. And Calvin Ridley said, this is what I was going through. I was cooking in Atlanta. I had a messed up foot. It was really bothering me, but I was battling through it. Me and Julio would stay close, and I was battling through it. I was taking painkillers before games. I was taking, pain shots, but I was battling because, I wanted to be there for my guys, et cetera, et cetera. He then said he was coming in and his foot was messed up. He basically talks about how he's starting to fall into like a depression and he's having a hard time dealing with injuries and battling through and taking painkillers. And the year before he was coming in to be the number one, Julio leaves. They clear staff in Atlanta. New coach, new everything, new front office, the whole thing, new training staff. The training staff comes in and actually tells him that your foot's broken. It's not messed up, it's broken. So in between that, he gets told his foot's broken. I might be butchering the timeline, but basically he was dealing with injuries. He then had an issue with his foot. His house then gets robbed. They clean out his house and they go to the footage, the surveillance footage, and like 5-6 people kick his door in and they got guns wheeling. He wasn't home, but they stole a bunch of his stuff, whatever. His lady was super scared. They didn't want to be in the house anymore, et cetera, et cetera. So he talks about how basically his outside life was in shambles and that's when he then took a step away from the team. Remember, he was out for personal reasons. He was
Yeah.
just battling with mental stuff, right? So he goes on to explain, how he was having a hard time and that betting on sports. I saw a commercial for an app, and betting on sports was like something to do. I was in the house, I was depressed, whatever.
Nothing can cure depression more than betting on some sports.
So it was, come on, man.
Nothing can, I'll tell you that. Oh, yeah,
he was like, it was something to do, and I was just putting together some parlays. I was disengaged with the team. I had no inside information. But if you go read it, he's very honest and explains how he was feeling. That's what Ja Morant's going to need to do. He's going to need to come out with a Players Tribune, say, hey, this, and this. I was out of control, blah, 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 blah. But I'm back. I made some really poor decisions. I'm here for my teammates. I want to make a playoff push. And this will be all tucked away and done. People aren't going to forget it. But he just needs to come out, be honest, explain what he was going through, and then keep it pushing.
Yeah, and I think that he should also, I know you kind of push back on this because you're like, oh, he'll never be having another drink again. But I think he should also, if you acknowledge the alcohol part of it, overall as a society, because so many people, know people who struggle. Listen, there's people who struggle with addiction and people themselves struggle with addiction, yada, 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 right? You can garner some sympathy. Instead of making it seem like you're just a wild-ass dude who likes to play with guns and I need to figure out how to not be that. It's like, yo, you don't got to say, hey, I got a drinking problem. I'm an alcoholic. I need to sober up. But you can acknowledge, look, man, it's a stressful year. Sometimes to blow off steam, I have a few drinks. Sometimes I have a few too many, and I need to get that under control, right? That's something that I'm struggling with. I need to get under control. If you put it that way, it's not where he can never have another drink again. But what you're doing is you're saying, hey, this is the reason why I was wilding out. And it's an almost acceptable reason. More acceptable than that, I need to change who I'm around. I need to change who I am. And, guns are just a part of my life, but I got to get that out of there because now I'm a grown-up now. I feel like he gets more sympathy. This sounds fucked up. It gets more sympathy going the alcohol route. You know what I'm saying? Because clearly that's a factor. You don't do what he was doing if alcohol is not a factor, unless you're stupid. And if it's not a factor, well, then you come off as stupid, and that's a whole other thing you got to deal with. So that's what I was saying when I was like, look, just embrace that part of it, man. Like, it's all good, especially when you had sent us that report the other day where they're saying it could be alcohol related that he's got to deal with. So I don't know, man. I also feel like the way they're kind of handling it, how hush-hush it is, it probably is. I'd imagine he's in some sort of treatment, outpatient, whatever it is that the team assigned him to kind of get his head right. But I feel like he can get some sympathy going that route. No. As opposed to everybody just thinking that you're something else or you're a thug or whatever they want to call you. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what's next.
I think I think the owner and the coach and the GM are all at fault in this as well. This is a simple conversation, I believe, early on. Bro, I'm telling you right now.
Well, how do we know he didn't have it though? How do we know? I think you're assuming. Listen, man, Hey,
he wasn't missing no games.
Listen, though.
No. Nick, what I'm saying is that if you're the president and you're the GM,
Iverson.
Huh?
Neither was Iverson.
That's what I mean. They're in the wrong.
Yeah, but he was a fucking alcoholic his entire career.
No. What I'm telling you is the first stuff that comes out on the live stream is like, hey, you pull him in, you're like, yo, we can't be doing that. So then a month after that, when the Hollow Point tweet comes out, hey, can't be doing that. This could easily be a internal fine, sit down for a couple games, and we'll call it a pull calf.
You're acting like that has an effect on everybody, man. You're around a lot of these guys, man.
But Nick, it wasn't happening.
How do we know that? How do we know?
What do you mean?
How do we know that they haven't had conversations with Ja about how he's been acting and about how he should carry himself as the face of the franchise? We don't know that. We don't know what's happening behind the scenes. As much shit when we start. Look, the Steven Adams shit leaked the other day. They said that Steven Adams had to have a players meeting about these guys on the road and how they handle themselves on the road. And you look at their road record, it clearly reflects the fact that the team has some issues on the road, right? So what are they? I don't have the record in front of me.
They're terrible on the road. They're one of the worst teams in the NBA.
One of the worst teams in the NBA on the road and one of the best teams in the NBA at home. So if you got a bet like Steven Adams, who's been around a lot of teams, who has seen a lot of guys get it in and it's fine, but he feels like, I got to call this out because on this particular team, we're going too hard. How do we know that these discussions haven't been had before, man?
It seems, obviously, I'm not in the Memphis Grizzlies organization, but it seems like they were cool with how he was acting previously. That's why he felt comfortable doing that. That's it. Coach not restricting any minutes. It's the classic. It's the classic. Like, we winning basketball games. So
they probably enabled it to a point.
I can go ahead and do whatever he wants because on game at tip, he's going crazy. So it's a classic that. We'll move on from this. I hope Ja comes back better than he was before, gets everything that's out of order in order, and I want to see him back for the playoffs. I also think we shouldn't see him for the rest of the season. If he's ready to play and he thinks he's back, come back. I hope he doesn't feel the need to sit out the rest of the year. Come out, apologize, say what you need to say, address it head on, and keep it moving. Also, because I'm going to tell you this, if he sits the rest of the year, this shit's going to linger all off season. It's going to go into next year. Come out, deal with this shit, miss a week,
you say come out, drop 50, it's all good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Say what you need to say. Take it head on because it's how important that first public address is. Come out, take it seriously, be honest,
ownership, be accountable.
And you could tuck it away and then go ahead and play in the playoffs.
Hey, and leave them dudes at home, man. Leave them guys at home for the rest of the year. Just leave them guys at home for the rest of the year. Hey,
I'm going to tell you this. That's another thing that's on the franchise, the owner, the president, the GM.
Well, you can't have these guys.
From my understanding, and I've talked to people that got people over there, they do whatever they want over there.
Yeah, that's clear.
That's clear. They move around however they want inside the
building. You got some ties to the situation. So
what I'm saying is the owner and the president could have nipped, hold on. That could have been nipped a little bit.
For sure.
So that's what I mean.
You're the superstar. These guys aren't the superstar. You're the superstar. Leave them dudes at home, man. Holler at Mike Vick about what that type of shit can get you into.
So there's a couple people at fault, Ja being number one, but I think they could have helped him out earlier on. He's clearly this is the last thing I'll say. You clearly feel untouchable if after everything that's happened the last year, and then the reports coming out about, we have 2 reports in a matter of 6 weeks about guns. The kid on the playground that he pulled one on, and then we had the Pacers situation where they had got into an altercation and were going back and forth with people on the Pacers in the game, and it spilled out over to after the game in the tunnel, the loading dock.
Well,
then you come out, go on live and flash a gun. That tells me you feel untouchable. No one in the organization is going to slow you down from anything because I get buckets and I'm the man out here. No one's saying shit to me. That's all that says to me. The franchise has to hold some of that accountability. All right, let's move over to Jokic. Hey, man, listen. JJ Redick, Big Kendrick Perkins got on ESPN.
Dude, JJ gets pressed on television, by the way.
Yo, we can talk about that in a second because I agree with that very much. But
gets pressed.
This is what I want to say about the Jokic MVP. I made a little piece of content on this recently. Now, if you remove the 3 times in a row, take off the guy's name and the picture, just show the stats, just show the numbers, just show the team record, just show all that stuff. He is a runaway for the MVP in 2023. Period, point blank. Remove the 3 in a row. It's a singular 2023 year award. He has been the best player all year. His team has been the best team. You can argue in the NBA at some points. Clearly the number 1 team in the West. That's it. He's the MVP. The only reason this is sparking so much controversy is because it's the 3 in a row thing. Last year, I have bet slips for quite a bit of dollars on Joel Embiid to win the MVP. I thought Joel Embiid should have won the MVP last year. But last year's tucked away. It's done. You already gave it to Jokic. So now we're in 2023. It's clear, done and dusted for me that Jokic is the MVP. Now, JJ and Big Perk got on ESPN. Perk basically said the last couple weeks, or last week or so, Jokic been stat padding.
That's what he said first.
He said that
started
first.
with stat padding, which is completely unfounded.
Jokic,
we know stat padders.
Listen. He shouldn't have used the word stat pad. But what he's saying is that Jokic is aware of what his line looks like throughout the game. And he starts to defer to the line. That's basically a more articulated way of what he was saying. He says, Jokic knows he has 8 assists. All of a sudden, Jokic start passing that motherfucker a little more. Which
I disagree if you watch Jokic play, but go ahead.
That's what Perk was saying. And I agree with you, Nick. If you watch Jokic play, he literally just tries to make the most basketball move.
Yeah, he's just making the best basketball play out there. And yeah, this is coming from someone who loves Embiid and feels that it's going to be terrible that after this 3-year run, Joel Embiid is not going to get an MVP trophy out of any of these years because he definitely deserves one. But Jokic stat padding is absolutely ridiculous from someone who knows basketball like Kendrick Perkins. He knows that's not true.
Stat padding's the wrong word. He then alluded to then Steve Nash's MVP started coming up, which the second one, which was wrong. Should have been Kobe's.
The second one was bullshit.
Could have been it could have been a couple people's. Now, also, this is I'll actually circle back to this because I want to let you get your piece into. JJ basically said, Perkins was bringing race into the situation and said, you might have a little more beat on exactly what he said. He basically was alluding to that a majority of the people voting for MVP are white people. A majority of those people tend to lean more analytically, and they're going to vote for Jokic every time.
Yeah. So I fully disagree on that. So he started off with the stat padding. Then he came with the European players are not held to the same standard as Black American players, right? That's kind of what he insinuated on First Take Next, which at some degree I agree with, but really when it comes to superstars, I remember Dirk you and I, before we had a podcast, used to refer to not showing up in big moments as Dirkin. Do you remember this?
Yes,
consistently.
I do. Consistently, he would not show up.
Dirkin. Like we would say Dirkin out here. You know what I mean?
And I would literally make fun of him being a 7-footer that didn't impact the rim at all, and he just shot mid-range fadeaways. Yeah. And in big spots didn't show up. We called it.
And I felt like Dirk got a lot of heat for not winning, right? But you got to go through the history of European players and find how many have actually been at that level where they would get that kind of smoke. And it's really Dirk. It's going to be Luka eventually, and probably Jokic as far as like that top echelon MVP candidate type Euro guys. Outside of that, there's no one to really give that kind of smoke to. We've had plenty of great European players in this league, but as far as the type of guys who, we talk about like, shout out Vujacic, the machine. Shoot, we need that video. But yeah, there's been plenty of, but as far as like that upper echelon, the same, the type of guys that we would give that type of smoke to, there really haven't been that many. And I feel like the ones that have existed, mainly Dirk I remember Dirk getting a lot of heat, not just from us for winning. But I understand what he's saying as far as your run-of-the-mill, whatever good European player is not held to that same standard as some of the Black African-American players, right? I know it was a meme on during All-Star Week as far as the, like, if Jokic's name was Nick Johnson, you know what I mean? And it was a black dude to be held to a completely different standard. I don't disagree with that narrative overall. So he was pushing that. Then he came on and was like, look, if you look since 1990, only 3 players have won an MVP that weren't in the top 10 in scoring. And he cited Steve Nash both times. He cited Dirk Nowitzki. And then he talked about Jokic's MVP last year, right? And JJ rebutted that that's very convenient that you cut it off at 1990 because if you go to 87, 88, 89, Magic was winning MVPs, putting up 14, 15 a game, right? And then he also said, look, if you look at Dirk's year, there were 67 and 15. If you look at the first Steve Nash year, it was the best offense we'd ever seen in the NBA, right? It really ushered in the new pace and space year. And if you look at Jokic over the last 2 years, how could you not say he's the MVP? So I think JJ got mad that he felt that Perk is pretty much coming on TV, right? Perk obviously doesn't think that Jokic should be MVP this year and needs to have a hot take to accompany that. And his hot take is Jokic is getting MVP because the white voters are pushing this narrative. And I just couldn't disagree with that more, right? If you want to bring up other players' numbers, if you want to bring up the fact that Jokic doesn't play defense, different things like that, for sure, right? We can have that conversation. But I just don't think that Jokic is about to win his third MVP because he's a white European player. And believe me, anytime I can call something out as racist, I 100% will.
That's true.
You understand what I'm trying to tell you?
We're kind of looking for that.
Yeah, we look for that. Yes.
Wait,
you know what I mean? And I just don't see it in this. I just think that Jokic has had the best 3-year stretch for anybody in the league right now. And that's just kind of where it is, man. And it's fine. It's good.
I think the question mark is last year. And what is hard to – I mean, if we want to get down to the nuts and bolts of it.
And these are the same voters that voted for Russell Westbrook and Harden on back-to-back MVPs.
A majority of the people that are voting for MVP are analytically based guys. And Jokic blows the analytics sheet just out of the water. The efficiency is absolutely unheard of, what he's doing on that side of the rock.
63%.
And then you throw in the fact that they're number one in the West. He's going to win MVP this year, and he deserves the MVP this year. Last year is the issue.
Were they fourth or fifth last year?
Sixth, I believe.
Okay.
Controversy last year. Maybe he shouldn't have won it last year. And like I said, I thought Embiid should have won it. I had a lot of money on Embiid to win.
For sure.
That's the question mark. And I think as NBA
last year was a bad year for you for MVP bets, huh?
Yeah, talk to me about it. I had Roger, I feel like
you had Brady, right?
I had Brady.
And you had,
I feel like I should have won both of them too.
Yeah,
but yes, it was.
They both looked great until those last couple of games. Yeah,
and the fact that I think how NBA fans and people like us judge this thing. Say what you want. Steve Nash has 2 in a row. One of those is Kobe's. So every time Nash's 2 MVPs come up, the first thing out of my mouth is, well, Kobe should have won that second one. Yeah, and I think as we go back and look on this Jokic stretch, if the streets don't approve it, Nick, it didn't really happen.
That's not bad.
That's kind of how I feel about it. For example,
Karl Malone.
For example, take Reggie. You could take Reggie Bush's Heisman all you want. Reggie Bush is a Heisman winner.
I saw that with my eyes.
You understand what I'm saying?
I was there. So
like you can scratch it off there.
So you're saying that goes both ways. Goes both ways.
So I think in 10, 15 years when this comes up and we're having conversations about Jokic, it's going to be like, yeah, he was amazing in that stretch. I think he won 2 of those 3. I think Embiid should have got one of them. That doesn't do anything for Embiid on the actual hardware. And when people look back that didn't watch these guys play, it'll just say that, Jokic won 3 in a row. But the people that are watching and the people that are locked in, I don't know if they're approving that 3 in a row. And I think that is really important.
I'll give you individual. Yeah, I got you.
And another example. When they gave Macklemore that rap album of the year, we're not approving that.
That's a great example. Nobody honored that.
It's almost like we're not honoring that. I don't care who voted for
that.
Who
are you speaking for? Yeah.
Who gave it to him?
Right.
I'm not honoring that.
Right.
And every time that comes
Macklemore wasn't honoring that either, that corny ass shit.
So Macklemore, every time that comes up, like, nah, bro, he didn't win that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with the Jokic thing. I believe he won 2 of 3. I think he should have lost last year. But if we're talking about 2023,
he's MVP.
He's MVP, bro.
He's MVP.
It is what it is. They're number one in the West.
Yeah.
His numbers are crazy. He's about to average triple-double. It's just different. He's different right now in this year. All right.
On a lineup where everybody's in and out of it consistently, right? And I think that may be why last year he was able to get it because everybody was hurt. So it is what it is, man. But it's not because he's a white European, and I think Perk was just off base on that. And I get it. He's got to come up with something. That's it. What were you gonna say about JJ real quick before we go on to NFL?
Oh, we were talking about JJ. JJ, he gets a little too upset.
Firecracker.
He gets a little too angry, and then it makes the atmosphere on the show extremely serious.
Yeah.
Now,
we saw Molly kind of got at him after he said that. She's like, we don't create anything. We invite people on, and y'all say what the fuck you got to say.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
this is
like,
called First Take.
This is called First Take.
I think Stephen A could have hopped in and kind of diffused that a little bit, but JJ takes this shit extremely seriously because, first of all, if you listen to JJ and follow his content, he thinks 99% of you people watching basketball are idiots.
Yeah, he does.
And you guys, he would never say this because it's not a good look. He wants to say, you motherfuckers didn't play basketball so badly. But he won't say it. Like, he wants to come out and be like, you people don't know what you're talking about. You didn't play basketball at the level I did. So stop with all these takes. You're making stuff up. You don't know what you're talking about. He doesn't respect a lot of the people's opinions in the basketball space. So he gets very upset and gets mad. And it brings a heaviness to the show. Now,
he's just a serious guy. He's just wrapped pretty tightly. You can see why he was he's very routine, or he always talks about his routine and all that. Yeah. You see it in him. Like, we all know a JJ Redick type guy. He's just wrapped way too tightly.
Yes.
I like him, though. I mean, I like his content. I like the old man, the three. I think he gives great stuff.
No, he knows what he's talking about.
He's a serious dude. He's just a serious dude.
Yeah, he knows what he's talking about when it comes to hoops. But, it brings a certain heaviness to the show. All right, let's move off the NBA. Let's move over to the NFL because we're about to talk about this for easy 30 plus. Collusion. Lamar Jackson gets placed on the non-exclusive tag for the Baltimore Ravens.
The disrespect.
Baltimore is essentially saying, okay, Lamar, you think we're not giving you enough money? You go ahead and test out the market. If you could get a fully guaranteed $200+ million deal from the market, you go out and do that. We'll give up 2 first-round picks if we don't want to match it, or we'll get 2 first-round picks if we don't want to match the deal someone gives you. Wipe our hands clean of it, and we'll be quarterbackless.
Yep.
Now, it comes out Lamar has no suitors. Big Nick the Quick, you think this may be some backroom dealing? People on the phone, hey, we're not offering that. Don't do that. We're not doing that.
100%.
And it feels like Lamar's getting frozen out here a bit. Tell me how you feel about it.
It makes the whole situation clearer as to why there is no deal. So for me, we'll get a little bit of background. There's 2 types of tags that could have placed. The exclusive, which is your traditional franchise tag. They can still negotiate a deal, but other teams can't negotiate with him. If they don't get a deal done, he's going to play next year for $40 million. There's that non-exclusive tag, which is the equivalent of a qualifying offer in the NBA, which means, hey,
it's a match.
We have a deal. Yeah, you go out, find.
It's a restricted free agent, is what it is.
Restricted free agent. If we want to match it, we can. If not, like you said, there's some compensation involved. Cool. The fact that as soon as he signs that non-exclusive tender, a list of 5 teams come out. I'll give it to you immediately. Atlanta, Miami, which makes sense. The Panthers, the Commanders, and the Raiders. They have all these other teams literally do not have a quarterback on the roster. Miami has a quarterback. How much they believe in him, we don't know, right? It seems like every time there's a quarterback available, Miami is mentioned, right? But the fact that immediately these 5 teams that are shit, really 4 of them that are
need a quarterback,
especially like Atlanta. You want to bring a black quarterback to the city of Atlanta? Come on, man. It's the blackest city in America. You want to bring a black quarterback to Atlanta? Atlanta has the nerve to say, we're not interested in negotiating with them? 100%, because immediately, he has less leverage than he did before that came out, right? Now, instead of 25 teams going after him. There's 20 teams going after him, right? And that to me stinks. It's rotten. What it tells me is that it's not necessarily about Lamar Jackson. It's about the fact that the NFL, the owners, are taking a strong stand against fully guaranteed contracts, right? They can always say the Deshaun Watson contract's an outlier until someone else signs one just like it, right? One is an outlier, two is a trend, right? And as soon as they give Lamar a fully guaranteed deal, you have now opened up the floodgates for everybody else, starting with these quarterbacks that are all up, Burrow, Herbert, Hurts, whoever it might be, to then sign fully guaranteed deals, right? And the NFL, one thing that they have always pushed against, harder than anything, is guaranteeing contracts. They have dug their feet in the sand on non-guaranteed deals at every single collective bargaining session, right? Every holdout, lockout, whatever it is. We will not give up on guaranteed contracts, right? You will not get guaranteed contracts from us. So when it comes out that a 26-year-old former league MVP who's entering his prime and has not reached his ceiling, right? If we're being honest, there's still a lot of work you can do with Lamar Jackson to make him a better football player. But as he is, he's electric. All he does is go out and win games, right? And to have all these teams, to have a commodity like that hit the market, which we say is the most valuable thing in all of sports. And you mean to tell me 4 teams who desperately need one are saying, no, we'd rather see what happens in the draft instead of taking a chance at a 26-year-old former league MVP? That to me screams collusion, man. These guys are all on the phone saying, hey, look, as long as y'all don't sign that, it's bigger than Lamar for Baltimore. It's bigger than Lamar for Baltimore. But Scotty knows he cannot give that deal. The other owners told him, we are not doing that. They were mad at Haslam last year for giving that deal to Deshaun. They said, what are you doing? Remember, that was all the rumblings. The whole rest of the league was pissed off when they gave that deal. They were completely shocked by it. But as long as you keep it an outlier, you don't open up the floodgates for fully guaranteed deals, because think about what's going to happen. All these quarterbacks will get fully guaranteed. Then what's up next? Well, what's the next most valuable position? These edge rushers, right? Hey, I want a fully guaranteed deal. I want a fully guaranteed deal. Next thing you know, the league is all on fully guaranteed deals, and that's the one thing they don't want. So the Ravens are willing to make a sacrifice. That's how bad they don't want fully guaranteed deals, is that the Ravens are willing to sacrifice a franchise quarterback for it. That is the only thing I see, and it makes the whole situation clearer. It makes the whole situation clearer. Everything is crystal clear now. Why isn't Lamar getting a deal? Yeah, there might be some issues they have with him. Yeah, he likes to eat fried chicken during the press conference. But in what other situation are you not paying your quarterback? And in what other situation are the Carolina Panthers? Y'all have traded first-round picks for Sam Darnold. Y'all have traded picks for fucking Baker Mayfield. Or signed Baker Mayfield? You had Baker Mayfield playing quarterback last year. Come on, man. You had Cam Newton playing quarterback there years ago.
You had a camp with Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold in it, and the brother.
Competition.
That was but you want to say, no, we don't want Lamar Jackson. We're good. We'll take our chances. The Commanders, you had Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke.
Come
on, man. That shit screams collusion.
Couple things. I agree. It does scream collusion. Something tells me Joe Burrow would get a fully guaranteed deal.
I don't think so, bro.
He should ask for one.
I don't. That's fine. I think.
Hey, you know what? You know what's funny? You know what's funny? This would never happen, but the quarterback should just come out and say, "Yo, look, we only take fully guaranteed."
Yeah.
Like Joe, it's a really interesting situation. Now, I do have to say this: for all of a sudden, teams that need a quarterback, where you flat out don't find quarterbacks. They don't exist. There's like 20. There's like 15 in the entire world.
In the whole world.
In the whole world that can win a Super Bowl. Maybe even 10.
10. If they win a Super Bowl, I'm talking about that can play well on Sunday. Fuck a Super Bowl.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. There's 15.
Consistently play well on Sunday.
That can win that can be above 500. How about that?
That makes you feel good about going into a Sunday afternoon.
Yes. And I'm only betting money on about 8 of them.
6. My no list is extensive.
So what I'm getting at is there's quarterbacks aren't around. And for them to come out and all say they're not interested is clear.
Before even meeting with him. We're not taking a meeting with Lamar.
Now I'm interested.
No meetings.
Now I'm interested What is Lamar asking for? I still don't know. Is it the absolute floor $230 million guaranteed?
Should be.
Is that the minimum?
Should be.
If that is the case, if he's basically let everybody know, hey, do not call my phone for less than $230 million fully guaranteed, then I could see teams being like, yeah, we're not doing that.
It's not about the
And
money,
we're not
man.
interested.
Why?
Because they think $230 million guaranteed is too much for Lamar Jackson.
That's not
And
it.
to
That's
be
not
honest,
it. That's not it.
I think that's part of it, Nick. I think they would give him fully guaranteed $200 million.
I don't think they're fully guaranteeing anything.
I think. Well, okay. Okay, so let me ask you this.
But here's the thing: those teams came out and said we don't want him before they even knew what he was asking for. They haven't sat down. That's what
I'm saying. Is it out there that, hey, this is what he wants? Period. Point blank.
You would still talk to him. You would still talk to him.
But now the issue also is he doesn't have an agent. He doesn't. It kind of has this.
Now it gets sticky. Yeah.
Well, now it has this kind of situation where Lamar has made it very clear, and people know, don't call my phone for less than $230 million guaranteed. And he probably wants more than $230 million guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
There's no point of contact but Lamar Jackson. He said that that's what he wants. So teams are like, yo, on top of the collusion, which is definitely happening, it seems, we don't have $230 million liquid anyway to give up. Now, the interesting key here is if you do guaranteed money on a contract has to go in escrow. You have to send it in. Now, some people are arguing that's part of it. They don't have $230 million
liquid,
which is bullshit because all they got to do is make a phone call, go get 200. They call up Chase.
Yes.
Or whoever else.
We need to borrow $230 million. Your team is worth how much? Oh, yeah, sure.
They can get $230 million.
Listen, bro, come on, man.
I don't want to hear that. That don't let that billionaire talk. That shit is all nonsense. Like when my man Ricketts for the Cubs was crying broke. He said he ain't no money. That's cap. Don't believe that.
You got a multi-billion-dollar asset in your portfolio. People will loan you money.
What I'm saying is, I'm not all the way where you're at because I don't know exactly what Lamar is asking for, and he has yet to come out and say exactly what he'll take. Now, if it's $200 million guaranteed, I think he could get that fully. Why not? They just gave Kyler Murray 190 guaranteed, 189.5, I believe is the exact number. The teams won't give him $200 million fully guaranteed, 4-year 50.
Well, why should he reset the market down?
Yeah,
why?
That's also a good point. That's also a good point. I can't argue that. But bro, if everybody says they're not going to give it to you, well, what do? You gotta tip your cap to Watson and his agent and take the 200.
But we don't even know.
Right?
I feel what you're saying. I just don't think it's about Lamar Jackson anymore. I really don't. I really do think it's 100% about guaranteed contracts and the fact that they don't want to do them. Don't you remember when they signed the Watson deal? They said every other owner in the league was very upset with.
I get it, but I think the other outlier, the collusion.
And why would you instantly?
The collusion thing would be a lot more clear if it was like, hey man, I just want 200, and they're not trying to come off 200. Then it's like, oh yeah, this is collusion. Because that's $11 million more than Kyler Murray. And Kyler Murray can't hold that boy's shoes.
Yeah.
All right. So then the collusion thing feels a little heavier. Now, if the report is Lamar wants $250 million fully guaranteed and he's not taking a cent less, then is it collusion or is it just like, man, we're not paying that? So that's where it gets interesting, man. I do think that teams behind the scenes had conversations like, yo, hey, we're not doing that. Yeah. But I also think he may be asking for an absorbent amount of money and they don't want to give it to him. And then he has no agent or anyone. I don't know what his team is telling him or who his team is, to be honest. that,
Seems
hey
like
man,
there's
you
a
might
bomb.
want to think about taking a little 4-year, $200 million guaranteed, $50 million per.
He might not play this year. That's where I'm at on this.
Hey,
I think
and
he's clearly dug in.
now I'm going to tell you this. There's very few sports that can make you disappear. The NFL is one of them.
Easily.
Lamar Jackson doesn't play this year, and they freeze him out one more year, he's done. I'm going to tell you that now. He'll get another shot, but then it's like he hasn't played in 2 years. This is that. What are we going to do? There's one league that can take the flack, call it racist, call it whatever you want, call it collusion. They'll swallow it, and next thing you know, it's 5 years later, and there's another Lamar Jackson coming out of Clemson, and Lamar is then a mortar in this situation. And we talk about Lamar like that's crazy how they did Lamar.
Yeah.
That's way down the road. But it makes me a little nervous, man, because he seems very dug in.
100%.
And I would love to hear from him. I would love to get like his opinion on actually what's happening. Now, let me ask you this.
Whoever speaks first in the negotiation loses, so he's not saying shit.
So on the non-exclusive, if no one offers, he just gets paid the $30 million?
Yeah, I believe so.
And then there's another year
if he signs it. Yeah, he could not sign it. He could pull the Le'Veon Bell. I think maybe he's banking on the fact that, okay, I'll ride this out for a while, right? Then we start getting to OTAs and mini camps, and some of these shitty teams start seeing the quarterbacks that they're lining up. Or maybe he's waiting till after the draft, right? Hey, some of these teams, not all these teams are going to get the quarterback that they want. So he's waiting until after the draft, and then these teams are going to get desperate, and that's when it happens. That's when the Watson deal happened, right?
I'm going to tell you this, too. Baltimore doesn't believe in Lamar Jackson. At every stop and turn, they've told you that. He's been trying to get a deal for years. They don't believe in Lamar Jackson. Let's just say what it is. Baltimore doesn't think he's the guy. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Because if they thought he was the guy, they would have signed him last year. They would have no problem giving him the biggest deal ever. Because if you're the guy, you're the guy. They don't believe he's the guy. Period. I don't know why no one's saying that out loud. Let's be real. Baltimore has been lowballing this buddy on purpose because they don't think he's the guy. Nick,
have they made a contract offer? Do we know if they've actually ever made an offer?
They had a deal out there with $133 million guaranteed on it.
Get the fuck out of here.
So that's where the disrespect comes in.
Didn't Daniel Jones just get $100 million guaranteed?
If you're selling a pair of shoes for $500 and I come in and offer you $200, I don't really want the shoes.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So it's very clear to me. Baltimore doesn't want Lamar Jackson. Sure, we'll take him at 30 on a 1 year, on another test year. And the problem with that too is, I'm going to tell you right now, if he signs that 30, his season's going to look a lot like it did this year. He's going to play 9, 10 games. He's going to get injured.
He ain't playing.
He's going to get injured, and he's not going to try to get back.
Yeah.
And we're going to be in the exact same situation we were last year. And then I don't know if it's just a very sticky situation. I think an agent would help with a lot of this because the agent may be able to figure out something for him. But it does seem like, okay, you want to play. You go because this is also something nobody's saying. Lamar trying to bully these boys too. Let's be honest. Agent, I don't need no agent. I need $250 million. And don't call my Nick. Let's not get it twisted. He's trying to bully these boys a little bit too.
Yeah, for sure.
And the NFL doesn't do that. Those owners don't get bullied.
Right.
So it's almost like, okay, I see what you
think we're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just what he's bullying them on. I think he's bullying them on guaranteed money. You think it's
he's 100% bullying them on
Sure.
guaranteed money. But what I'm saying is, what no one's really saying out loud, besides us, is that, or I haven't heard too much, the Ravens don't want Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
He wants a fully guaranteed deal, And politically, he's trying to bully them into that. And then the NFL's like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. So you go ahead and figure out what you're going to do. But we're going to be over here, and we're going to start the season, and we're going to start the next season. You keep bullshitting. And that's where we're at.
Yeah.
So I want Lamar to get his money, but, man, it's starting to get very, very interesting here. And I think he's going to have to swallow some of his pride and some dollars. And I just – and get that – take that 200, that 195 fully guaranteed, or the 250, 195 guaranteed. Any other thoughts?
I disagree. I would dig in just like he is. Yep.
And take no less than 230 like the Watson guy.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
And what if it's not coming?
I don't know. You go
hey,
we already crossed that bridge when we come to it point. Like I really are, man.
The bridge crumbling because they're telling you right now we're not doing it.
Yeah.
Don't let him go to Sanford. You know what he should do?
Shanahan should make that call.
He should take a little bit less money, go out to San Francisco, and just wreak havoc on motherfuckers the next 3-4 years.
Could you do a trade for lap dance Lance and Lamar? And
by the way, you understand this $200 million. he can get another deal 3-4 years from now.
Yeah, of course.
So you know what? Also, this is the last point because we can talk about this. We can talk about this for 3 hours.
Big money. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you this. I think he's also looking in the future a little bit. He's like, yo, when Burrow and these boys are up, they're gonna get 230. Herbert gonna get 240 guaranteed. No one's gonna say shit, and I need to be up there. So it's a very interesting situation. Let's get off of Lamar.
So you say he doesn't want to be Pat Mahomes and look up and be the 8th highest paid quarterback in the league?
Yeah, I think that's part of it.
Look, Mahomes signed a team-friendly deal. If we really look at it, yeah.
I think he knows that's coming.
Mahomes should hold out.
It's just spread out. Yeah, I mean,
he should hold out.
But he's trying to win.
You know how I feel. He's already got 2.
Can't. It helps winning when you spread out the bread. Yeah, I got 2 is enough. All right,
Andy.
I need everything.
This has been great. I'm in Texas. Give me a call.
LeBron James?
Yeah.
A sniff less than a max.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
I need my money.
Don't do that.
I need my money.
I need the max.
Hey. If I'm Mahomes, I'm holding out. My brother's out here wilding out, man. Shit's going crazy. I need to hold out.
I saw that video.
That shit is fucking ridiculous, bro. Talk about your people, man. Hey, main thing is if you get on control your people, man, they got to either be along for the ride, but they can't be the ride. Too many people out here trying to be the main character, trying to be the main event.
The attraction.
Along for the ride. The attraction. I don't know what he's doing. Moving too fast, man. This is my home show.
Let's move off of Lamar. Talk about Derek Carr. We can talk about Aaron Rodgers. We don't even got to touch on that. You want to touch on any of that?
Yeah, we'll get 5 minutes on the QB carousel. So Derek Carr lands with New Orleans. I like that move for him. I think that, look, if I'm Derek Carr, why would I want to go to the AFC East, right? Where I am who we got out there? We got my boy, Josh Allen. Got Tua. You got Matt Jones, who's meh. But, like, you're the 3rd best quarterback in that division, right?
Yeah.
Or I can go to the NFC South where there are no quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And be the only quarterback in that division.
Yeah.
And go play in New Orleans in a dome. Don't got to deal with cold weather because I don't like that. I'm a California guy. I played in Oakland. Yep. And I'll go there where there's no quarterbacks and we can win it. And there's already some infrastructure. And we can win the division. And they're going to pay me. Great deal. I love it. Shout out Derek Carr for the pivot. He wasn't trying to mess around with the Jets. If the Jets miss out on Rodgers and then also missed out on Carr, man, it's gonna be you'll know. I need to hear from you when that happens because if they miss out on that, because Carr was in the building ready to sign.
I thought they should have signed Derek Carr. I said
that from the very beginning. You said don't fuck around with this guy Rodgers.
Yeah,
because you just
don't
know
give
what's
up the
happen.
capital. It's not worth all the capital you're
gonna have to
give up. Keep building the squad. Derek Carr.
You could sign Carr outright.
Now, I just think the risk and the amount of capital you were going to have to give up to get Rodgers is too much.
Yeah, and he's going to want a new deal.
Tons of money, tons of draft pick, and you're risking not getting him at all.
And he's a weirdo.
Hey, the best quarterback I've ever seen.
No, Patrick Mahomes. Real quick, Daniel Jones, 4 years, 160 million. Hey,
what's the final guarantee number on that?
I don't know what that was.
I don't even pay attention to deals.
I just want to say, and also Geno Smith, 3 years, 100 million. God bless America.
Shout out Geno.
Hey, shout out Geno. Hey, what do you say? They wrote me off trying to write back.
That was game one, by the way. That was game one.
Yeah, shout out him. Shout out Danny Dimes for getting money. He owes Dabo half that check for sure. These are two guys who were fucking on their way out of the league. Both got money. Another reason why Lamar shouldn't sign anything. He's like, y'all crazy? What was it? I don't know what the final guarantee. You said what was year one for Geno? 50 million?
Yeah, he gets 50 million year one. So that's like 50 million guaranteed, basically. 50 million in the 50 M's in the bank account. Shout out.
Thank you. I was almost out the league, and now I get. Thank you, Russ. Hey, thank you, Russ.
Yeah. Shout out, Russ. Facts.
Thanks.
I was.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's leave it there, man. Lamar, stay tuned on that situation. Let's see what happens with Morant. You said 50 burger for Fred?
50 burger, man. Yeah.
1,000.
Go ahead and send that in.
What do you say?
I mean, I don't mind. I'll take a fine. I don't really care. I thought, Ben Taylor was fucking terrible tonight.
Terrible. Ben Taylor, terrible. For Big Nick the Quick, I am your host, Sean Little. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago, man. Make sure you follow, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. We'll see y'all next week. We'll be back Tuesday. Lock in with us. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. Let's get it.